Welcome back to the Build Day Live here at Supermicro. And we wanted to feature a little some of the other content that's being created as part of the Build Day Live. And so I'm joined by my good friend, Keith Townsend. Welcome.
How's it going, Alastair?
We're having a great time here. Hopefully in the live stream it's been as good as it has been before the live stream. You've been here today talking to some more of the executive. So firstly, for our audience, the three people in our audience who don't know who you are, would you introduce your role and what it is that you do?
I am Keith Townsend. I'm the CTO advisor. You might have seen some of my content on the CTOadvisor.com. I have these executive level conversations talking about why executives and architects should either recommend or buy stuff like the Big Twin.
And so if you're the normal vBrownBag audience who's very technically oriented and that likes the engineering depth, the content that Keith uses is really good to kick up to your manager or his manager who speaks a completely different language. And it's one of the things I know Keith learned as he transitioned from being a hands-on engineer to more management focused, is the words don't mean the same things at different levels.
They don't.
And so our video content is wonderful for engineers, but Keith's content is great for the decision maker. So getting the decision to buy across the line, technology needs to be right, but the business case needs to be there as well. So what sort of conversations have you been having with the Supermicro executive teams this week?
So a lot about dispelling a lot of, I think, FUD about Supermicro. You know, Supermicro is in what they're calling the 3.0 version of their lifehood. 1.0 is what, you know, Alastair, we probably remember Supermicro as the motherboard company when we're building either a server or a desktop PC. Supermicro motherboards were, you know, the name of motherboards. Mm-hmm. Now they're, you know, a proper server class solution where they're taking, you know, chassis like the Big Twin chassis and doing all the cool things and making true data center solutions, not just subsystems.
And one of the things that I've seen is the alliances. Do your videos talk about the alliances with the other tech vendors that are?
So not just the alliances. Obviously, you guys are building vSAN on the Big Twin and the integration with OEM partnerships such as Nutanix and the like. They talked about that, but I think what was more enlightening was their capability to take that experience with their partners, whether it's VMware, Nutanix, other OEM partners, and push that capability down to the customer and take engineering requirements. You know, if you're going to buy a few dozen clusters of Big Twins and you need it to run at a certain temperature, you need it to have a certain form factor, they can work with you, which is an interesting piece. They engineer and manufacture right here in Silicon Valley and San Jose, and I thought that was one of the most compelling parts of the story.
That's a little surprising because we associate Supermicro as a Taiwanese company,
yeah,
and we think that all of the engineering and manufacturing is done in Taiwan.
No, which they do some manufacturing in Taiwan and other parts of the world, because it makes sense. You know, just as there's a quick, you know, from idea to being in the customer's hands and having that manufacturing done here in the U.S. Same thing happens in Taiwan, is to have that same type of capability for APAC.
Great. Well, thank you, Keith. You've got, how many interviews did you do today?
I did 4 interviews, all talking from the ranges of how do you buy a Supermicro solution to support, how do they support it, and then how do they, you know, compete with larger players in a market. You can find those videos over on CTOadvisor.com and related blog posts on the CTOadvisor.com.
Excellent. And that content will be coming out over the next few days.
Over the next few days. It should be, you might see a couple of videos trickle down as Build Day Live kicks off. You can go to CTO Dose, and then most definitely a couple of days after the Build Day Live shuts down, you'll be able to continue and forward that content on.
Right, so keep watching for more of the CTO Dose content from here at Supermicro and from other vendors around the world. And stay tuned for more of the Build Day Live here at Supermicro.